Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the Casting Hydrolist VP Nursery coming to you guys with another awesome game cast. This one coming to you from the IPL Season 2. This is going to be round 2 of the qualifiers for IPL Season 2. This is the qualifiers number 1. And first, spawning as the Blue Zerg, we're going to have Desanir. Desanir, a relatively unknown player at this point in time. He is a Masters League player, not super highly ranked, not even with a particularly masterful record, so to speak. Actually has more losses than wins, but nonetheless is trying his hand at qualifying for the IPL. This is going to be Game 1, and his opponent, one of the most well-known Protosses in the world, it is going to be the Red Protoss of DuckloadRa. DuckloadRa, aka whiterra, absolutely amazing European player, has done very well in several tournaments, nearly took out OGSMC at the last DreamHack tournament. whiterra, known for some very crisp, clean styles of play, doesn't do a lot of things non-standard, but on occasion will do the non-standard type of builds. This is going to be on the map Xel'Naga Caverns for this first game. Do have whiterra putting down the normal 13 gateway and then going out to scout. Wants to see what his opponent, the Zerg, is going to be up to. Make sure that the guy's not going to try and cheese him or anything. That is always one of the worries for the high profile players in these types of matches, that their opponent will try and just cheese them out of the game quickly or something like that. So getting that early scout out there is actually a very good idea by Duckload. Do have a scout going out now for Desanir as well. Duckload scout is going to get to the base of Desanir first. Is going to say Desanir is opting for the Speedling opening. Already has taken his extractor. Pool already down. It's going to quickly be jumping on the gas there. I do like this opening on this map. The natural is a little bit hard to defend for Zerg. Is susceptible to a cannon rush since it is a two-player map, so this is a very solid opening for Desanir. Just get up the Speedlings and then expand a little bit later. whiterra just going to steal some arrows and then head back to his base. Desanir is just now getting scouted in with this drone. It's going to try to be a little bit annoying. That cybernetic score does go down though. First gateway is up. Zealot is going to be on the way. Chrono boosting out some probes at this point in time. Desanir, interestingly enough, going for a gas steal against DuckloadRa. It kind of invites the 4-gate style of play, but if you're really good at holding off 4 gates, I suppose it's not actually a really bad play to go for. Will make it a little bit tougher to get out Stalkers and Sentries early in the game. First Zealot is almost on the way. He's actually has it rallied straight to that extractor. Wants to tear that down extremely quickly. Cybernetic score has finished up, so he will be able to get out a Stalker as well. Is going to be doing that. We do have the pool up now for Desanir. He's going to be moving forward with a couple lanes. Going to try and pick off this probe. Duckload actually does not have his front walled in, so he's going to quickly move the wall in his front. There goes down another gateway to finish the wall in, but a couple of links do get in the base. Or a micro back and forth. Is he actually going to try and get to the probes of Duckload? Out comes a Stalker, and the links are actually just going to choose to turn around. Do have Desanir taking his expansion. Probably took it around 19 to 21. So very good solid timing for that expansion. Just a couple of queens on the way. First queen is up. Second queen actually not even on the way just yet. Does have link speed on the way, however, which is very good. Powering out quite a lot of drones at this point in the game. Those links are now returning for Desanir. Do have a scouting probe going back into the base of Desanir. whiterra wants to make sure that Desanir isn't doing anything kooky or out of the ordinary. Is going to see though that with the natural going up, Desanir is going for a rather fast Roach Warren. So this could be the Ling Roach all-in style play that we have seen lately out of the likes of E.G. Idra, for instance. It has been very successful against Protoss, especially when Protoss trying 3-gate expand. We do have whiterra though going for a 3-gate expand. Has not even finished up the warp gate research yet. Being maybe a little bit greedy with this. Pylon on the way. Expansion Nexus on the way as well. Not even actually able to add those couple of sentries that you do typically need to hold this yet though. Speedlings have finished up for Desanir. Does have 4 of them moving forward. Going to see if they can be annoying. Try and maybe delay the expansion of DuckloadRa, whiterra. Should easily be able to shoot up just the 4 links though. Bunch of drones getting powered out for the forces of Desanir. Forge on the way now for Duckload. Pretty standard, typical opening on this map for the Protoss player, Duckload. Do like that opening. It is a solid opening. Can lead to a quick +1 upgrade. You can do a lot of 5-gate, 6-gate pushes out of that, or just tech straight to Colossus, so it all just kind of depends. So loads and loads of drone on the way for Desanir. If we look at the income tab really quick, we do see Desanir with a significant lead at 36 to the 29 harvesters of DuckloadRa. Roach Warren has gone up, but upon being Scott, looks like he's not going to go all in or anything with it. He's just going to get it up. But just as I say that, 5 roaches are on the way. So maybe some pressure coming from Desanir is building some awful fast roaches. A couple of lanes just hanging out. Has pretty good map vision at this time of what Duckload is up to. And Nexus is just not going to complete, taking his 3rd gas right away as well. Probably seeing a drone transfer sometime soon. Yep, there goes the drones. All good things from Duckload at this point in time. Has not started any upgrades with the Forge yet. Probably going to be waiting for a second. Wants to make sure he has enough gas to actually support those upgrades while still building units. Does have a cannon up. Going to also be getting up a rather fast robotics facility. So wants to be safe from any kind of burrowed roach fast pushes. We look back at the base of Desanir though, and a bunch of lings on the way. A couple of roaches moving forward, so it does look like Desanir might be gearing up to actually do a push. We look at the income tab. Desanir actually holding up pretty well, and this is by no means all in. Actually pretty much even in the harvester count with DuckloadRa at this time. So pretty interesting timing push by Desanir, not sacrificing any income at all really. Not going to be moving forward with this group of roaches. Has a bunch of lings with speed coming in as well. Going to be looking to put on some pressure of the base of DuckloadRa. Duckload, I don't know if he's going to be ready for this. Here comes the roaches. Here comes the lings. We're going straight in the mineral line. Going to pick off one per right. Good force fields by Duckload, splitting this army in half. Zealous getting some work done on those roaches. Roaches attacking the sentries though. Not a lot of actually good combat units up for Duckload at this moment in time. Mostly just sentries, which are more defensive units. Duckload does not want to lose these sentries, though. Does want to pull them back. Here comes a bunch of lings. The lings actually get trapped inside with the forces of Duckload. He is going to lose a bunch of stalkers in this engagement. Might even lose a bunch of sentries. Warping in another zealot. All his sentries have gone down now, except for the last one that he warped in. Desanir now moving into the probe line, picking up a bunch of probes of Duckload. This is not what Duckload needs to be seeing. Desanir is hampering his income significantly at this point in time. More probes getting tore down. Duckload really needs to get these roaches cleaned up as quickly as possible. Even another probe going down. Lots of kills on these roaches. Zealots are going to finally clean up these roaches, but here comes a bunch more lings for Desanir. If we quickly look at the income tab to see the disparity, we do see his 40 harvesters to just the 30 of Duckload. So even building some harvesters behind this push, here comes a bunch more lings to apply pressure to Duckload. Probably not going to be able to do as much damage with those zealots, but they are going to try and see what they can get done. Do is pick off 1, 2 more drones. Good force field by Duckload. It's going to temporarily slow down these lings, but the lings are going to try and get in the base, and then a very good warp in by Duckload is going to prevent those lings from getting into the base. Now going to be moving forward, see if he can trap these lings with his forces and clean them up. A couple of good placed pylons are going to force these lings back through. Lings don't end up doing a whole lot of damage, but they did get a couple more harvesters. We look at the income tab once again. 34 to 47 harvesters. Desanir. So through all of this and all those forces being built of Desanir, he did manage to power out enough drones to keep up in the economy game with Duckload, and not only keep up, but get quite a bit ahead too. Even has a 3rd base coming up online now. Layer just about to complete for Desanir. So we'll be able to start getting those layer upgrades and layer tech fairly soon. Duckload in the meantime adding some gateways. Going to be putting up 2 more gateways. That'll take him up to 5 gateways now for his total. Not starting any more research upgrades at this moment in time. Has gotten the +1 attack, but not starting +1 armor just yet. Did have his economy hampered quite a bit in the early stages of the game, but is starting to cash back up. 43 to 57 harvesters now. Going to be trying to spend his resources as much as possible. Duckload now moving out. Wants to see if he can do some counter aggression. Maybe pick off the 3rd of Desanir. That would be actually huge at this point in the game if Duckload could get that done. Tons of stuff on the way for Desanir. Infestation pits, +1 upgrades, Overlord speed, Roach speed, all on the way for Desanir. Here comes those forces of Duckload. Are going to try and pick off this 3rd. Sadly, Desanir has not picked off these rocks during all that aggression. Forgot about these destructible rocks. Is going to give Duckload the defensive advantage and allow him to probably pick off this 3rd base. Bit of a mistake by Desanir, easily force fielding down that ramp. Desanir's going to be forced to turn around and try and go the other way. Does even have a observer out now, so he can scout against any broad roaches. Desanir is going to lose his 3rd base. So sad for Desanir, this is not going to work out for him initially. But here we go, Desanir actually catching an immortal. That was kind of a bad rally. Not going to be backing up with those roaches after picking up that immortal. Needs to be careful with these overlords. Does actually lose one, and it's going to get supply blocked. A little bit sloppy from Desanir on that counterattack. +1 upgrade is almost done for his roaches. More immortals, more stalkers, more zealots on the way for Duckload. Do have the pathogen glands upgrade for his infestors on the way, so looking to do a roach fester composition. But now Desanir pushing forward, actually gets through the force fields of White Rock. Does a bunch of damage and turns around. Looks like he wants to get rid of this forward pylon. Doesn't trust it near his third base. We do look, he has a couple of roaches even hanging out by the third. And see if he can pick off that pylon. Does pick it off. Temporarily supply blocks of White Raw, but White Raw does get it right back up, as he did have a pylon waiting in the wings. Was probably expecting to lose that pylon. White Raw trying to keep the Zerg forces contained at this point in time. If we do look at the income tab really quick, we do see our White Raw has caught up somewhat, but is still behind 61 to 46 harvesters. Right now, Desanir is still mining off of his main and his natural base, but we do have an engagement in the middle of the map. Desanir is going to be just moving forward with a bunch of roaches. Going to try and focus fire down that Immortal. Quickly kills the Immortal. No more Immortals with his army composition, but he does have one coming in, but that is going to get focus fire down as well. Trying to do as much damage as he can with these roaches to hold out the forces of White Raw. Building more roaches behind this push. Is actually going to push forward. Try and see if he can get White Raw to turn around, see if he can pick off any reinforcements. White Raw, a little bit of indecision, is actually going to get sandwiched between these sets of roaches. This could actually cost White Raw dearly. White Raw actually sandwiching his upper level forces too as well with a couple of stalkers. Looks like White Raw is going to win this engagement. Desanir is going to be forced to pull back. If we do look at the income tab really quick, though, we do see a 63 to 49. Both players running off of two bases right now. Desanir even getting up a macro hatchery to help him keep his production up against the forces of White Raw at this point in the game. White Raw is going to be forced to back up for now. Looks like White Raw is going to be gearing up to maybe clear out his third. Yes, is indeed going to do that. But we do have Desanir moving forward. Wants to try and deny this. Going to try and pick off these four pylons of White Raw. That is going to prompt White Raw to come forward, but Desanir getting out of there just in time. Isn't going to get those roaches trapped. Might lose one of the back roaches, but it does actually survive with quite a bit of health. White Raw still running off the same amount of gateways. Does have no additional upgrades on the way, but did get the +1 armor upgrade for his unit. So 1-1 for White Raw. We do have the force of Desanir are now 1-0, working on 2-0, and Desanir getting aggressive once again. Extremely aggressive style by Desanir, plowing into the forces of White Raw once again. Gets a good arc, but I think those force fields are going to break this up enough that Desanir is going to be forced to retreat once again. White Raw now moving forward. Going back and forth, Desanir manages to pick off one of the Zealots of White Raw. Going to move back to this Zelnaga tower. Desanir extremely with a very aggressive style of play. Just almost overly aggressive, or aggressive to a fault. Really good fungal growth goes down. It's going to help soften up those units. Looks like Desanir is going to try and focus fire down the Immortals, but only can take out one of them. Is going to be forced to back up, or he will lose the rest of these roaches. Running away with that Infestor as well. Reinforcements meeting up with his roaches. Might be considering pushing back again, but now he's going to back up just momentarily. White Raw's thinking of pushing into the third of Desanir. I would like to see White Raw go and deny this once again. Looks like White Raw is going to go for just that, but at the same time, Desanir is going to go to deny the third of White Raw. Just giving up his third and says, I will not let you take a third as well, White Raw. White Raw even going to be pushing towards the natural of Desanir. Desanir with no forces or spine crawlers over here. A couple of roaches just now popped. They are going to try and delay this push as long as possible. His army now coming back in from the upper left-hand corner. You will see them coming in. Here comes his army. Does pick off an extractor, trying to pick at that macro hatchery, but not going to be able to pick it off. White Raw is now going to try and retreat. No fungal growth or anything going down. Desanir actually just attacking straight into the choke. Is going to think better of that and back up. Does have some more infestors out and down the way. More drones getting made. Desanir in a pretty equal position to White Raw, more or less, at this point in the game. 130 to 109 supply. Desanir is going to even be moving forward to make sure White Raw does not put up this third at all. Desanir even re-expanding to his third at the same time. These forces clashing once again does force White Raw to cancel that third one more time. A couple of Overlords moving forward. Maybe a little bit of a misroute. Those Overlords are going to need to back up. Desanir even now double expanding to the side of the map as well as to his third. White Raw finally trying to get up this gold expansion. Desanir now is going to be looking, he's going to even try and triple expand at this point in the game and takes down that gold expansion. So we'll be ready to take that gold expansion sometime in the not too distant future. White Raw now still producing the Immortals. Is supply block for a second. A bit of a mistake there by White Raw. White Raw not switching over to Colossus just yet, just staying on pure Immortal and Gateway units at this point in time. Desanir is going to move forward, wants to make sure that White Raw is not taking his third. Maybe even going to be going for a lane counter into the natural of White Raw. Force White Raw to get his army out of position. We'll see what he actually does. White Raw will be mining from that gold base soon. It is about 75% done, and White Raw even adding a Stargate to his composition now. But a bunch of probes going to get killed here by these lings. 2, 3, 4 probes going down. 5, 6 probes. 7 probes. Maybe even an 8th probe. White Raw losing a bunch of probes. Look at the income tab. We do see it's 44 to 57. So Desanir doing a good job of keeping White Raw's economy in check. Macroing up back at his base. Bunch of infestors up here for Desanir. 4 already completed. 4 more on the way. So absolute ton of them for Desanir. White Ra is going to be moving forward. He's going to see that Desanir has retaken his third base and is mining from it. White Ra, additionally mining from his gold base, finally has gotten that up, has 4 cannons up, so pretty good defensive position for White Ra on this 3 base. Do have even Void Rays on the way now from that Stargate that White Ra put up. No additional upgrades at this time. Has not built the Twilight Council yet so that he can actually get past 1-1. So staying on 1-1 for the time being. Desanir at 2 attack and 0 armor. So favoring the attack upgrades. I do like that with this very aggressive playstyle that Desanir has. Even starting to saturate his base over in the corner. Looks like he's going to be moving just 3 roaches forward. Going to be picking off some more probes of White Ra. White Ra cannot afford to keep losing probes like this. Has 3 or 4 probes picked off before those roaches retreat. Income tab wise, once again, we do see White Ra finally starting to catch up. 53 to the 55 harvesters of Desanir. So White Ra just now starting to get caught back up in this game. Do have a couple of zealots that apparently tried to mosey their way on over on the side of the map for White Ra, but easily cleaned up by Desanir. White Ra and Desanir just kind of trying to position themselves into the best possible position for them in the middle of the map. Both players just swinging back and forth, deciding which direction they want to try and attack from. Neither player really committing to an attack just yet at this point in time. Observer for White Ra does see the movement of the force of Desanir. Do have the first Void Ray now out here for DuckloadRa. He needs to be careful though. Actually gets a fungal growth. Some infested Terran on the way. White Ra is going to want to pull this back. White Ra, pull it back, pull it back. White Ra is actually going to just abandon the Void Ray and attack into the force of Desanir. Does get down some good force fields though. Will choke off about 5 or 6 roaches. A couple of them do manage to skirt out along the side though. Desanir is now going to try and swing around the long way. See if he can get a movement advantage and position advantage on White Ra. White Ra though is on top of that, but does take a fungal growth. That is going to do quite a bit of damage to the shields. And now even some of the armor of these Stalkers, even losing a couple of sentries. That is very critical for White Ra not to lose a sentry. Has a ton of sentries in his composition, but is losing a few of them. A couple of more forces of White Ra do get caught by the fungal growth of Desanir. Those force fields are now collapsing. But White Ra with a ton of sentries in composition. But here goes yet another fungal growth. Is going to be actually hurting the units of White Ra quite a bit. Those Immortals are low on shields, and the hardened shields is what makes it so good. And then Neural Parasite coming on 2 of these Immortals. Those Immortals are going to be very good at taking out the other Immortals of White Ra and even hitting the Stalkers. So Desanir being very key to pick those off before the Neural Parasite does get out of time. And now fungal growth. Roach is going forward. I can barely even talk. There is so much going on. White Ra is in an absolutely terrible position at this point in time. He's about to lose his entire ground army to Desanir. Desanir might even be able to deny this third base of White Ra if he can do this. Throwing down some infested Terran to try and deal with the Void Ray of White Ra that is right there. Going now to pick off this third base, mostly just hitting the pounds and stuff. Really should just be focusing on the Nexus. Finally, Colossus on the way for White Ra. Does not have Thermal Lance yet, though, so he is going to have to be very careful to micro those back. Desanir is just going to pull off a few roaches and run them forward to try and pick off this Colossus. Colossus is very low on health, does go down. Colossus is down. That one Void Ray trying to be the hero unit is up to 13 kills already, but this Nexus is probably going to go down for White Ra. He does have a couple of roaches, still focusing this down. More roaches joining the fray to help continue to focus Nexus down. Nexus does go down. White Ra is back down to 2 bases. We look at the income tab really quickly. See is 53 to 54 harvesters, but White Ra running out of mining bases. His main is fairly mined out. His natural is starting to get mined out. Moving forward now with 2 Void Rays. Does pick off an Infestor. Wants to see if he can be as annoying as humanly possible. Do have a Hydralisk then going down for Desanir, even taking his gold base. Now, 3rd and 4th pretty well saturated at this point in time. That Hydralisk then is up now. Is not getting the range upgrade right away though. Even has some Spore Crawlers going down. Does not want to get countered by Dark Templar. Do have the Thermal Lance on the way for White Ra and more Colossus, but White Ra running off at just 1 base right now as far as mining goes. Does have 2 base gas. Really needs to get this 3rd base up. Really needs to be able to defend it. More cannons on the way. Those Void Rays moving back forward, fighting some Queens. Good transfusions, though, is going to force these Void Rays to back up. Even a couple infested Terran from the Infestors are going to force that Void Ray away of White Ra, so this base will go up, only taking minor damage. White Ra is going to be forced to retreat with those Void Rays, but now we have the Roaches coming in from the left, are going to try and deny the start of White Ra once again. Picks off the Colossus easily. Not many ground forces for White Ra at all. It was relying heavily on doing harassment with these Void Rays, but Desanir is having none of it. Picking off another Colossus that comes in, going to easily focus down this Immortal. Those two Void Rays actually playing the spoilers for this push to go any further than it does, but it's done the damage that it needed to do. Took out the third of whiterra, and whiterra is actually going to be forced to GG and is going to go down 0-1 to Desanir. Desanir with some extremely aggressive play that actually paid off extremely well for him. There was maybe some indecision at a midpoint in the game by whiterra. Whiterra might have been able to do some damage had he not had that indecision, but overall, an amazing game by the relatively unknown player of Desanir. Just a Masters level player coming in here and beating one of the best in the world of DuckloadRa. So we will be moving on to Game 2, so stay tuned for that, guys, and I will see you at the next cast.